The first episode I thought of the Valley, I actually thought it was really good. And I felt guilty for even watching, and I felt guilty for thinking it was good because we know like Jax and Kristen and Brittany have all been exposed for saying very horrible, racist things and also doing very horrible and racist things, which is why all three of them got fired from Vanderpump Rules in the first place. So I'm going to be honest in saying that I felt very guilty watching because I definitely did not want to support them, but I did end up watching. And I thought the first episode was pretty good. I thought it was funny. I thought it was engaging. I thought, wow, it's a lot different than what I thought it was going to be because the people that were introduced, they were kind of fun, a different season of life, and they were all pretty cool and interesting people. Now, I'm going to do a deep dive into all of the couples and what I think is going on. But the second episode, though, hot, trash, dumpster, fire. Hot, trash, dumpster, fire. And when I say trash, I'm not calling any person trash, not in a derogatory way. I just mean it's like a dumpster, trash, fire. Okay. To me, Brittany is just as evil as Jax. And we're going to get into it. Let's get into it. Let me go through each person. So, Luke and Kristen. And I'm going to break down what I think about all of that, okay? Luke, I'm going to be honest with you. He gives me, and I hope I don't want to get my YouTube docs, but I'm just going to be honest. He gives me serial killer vibes. Like Luke, like there is a ticky ticky boom boom in him where I feel like he has like dead bodies in his basement or something. Like there's something fundamentally off with Luke. He just gives me creepy guy who lives in like Colorado or Utah, wherever the hell he lives, on a farm. Like I just feel there's something inherently creepy about him. Jax, like him or not, he reads people for filth. He reads people for filth. And he reads Luke for filth as well. I do think there's something ticky ticky boom, something really off from Luke. Now, Kristen, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs too, but in a different way. I'm going to compartmentalize the racism with faith. I know it's not right, but in order to talk about it, I have to just put that in a little bucket. Kristen, I think, is very insecure, very looking for validation, looking for love, just kind of like that type of lost forever girl. You know what I mean? She seems very sad, very desperate, very needy energy, very, very lost girl energy to me. Now, the whole storyline of Kristen and Luke trying to have a baby, do we think that's true or do we think that's just for a storyline? Either way, I think it's absolutely ridiculous and a hot mess of a storyline. Number one, Kristen, you met this guy, you banged him in the bushes literally 2 days after the guy you were dating, Alex, kicked you out of the house you were sharing, made you sell your house, and then now you're living in an apartment somewhere. You know what I mean? So that to me is absolutely crazy and bonkers. She should have taken some time to heal, get herself together, and then move on in a proper way rather than just going, to the next guy and being like, let's have a baby. I get it. In our society, there's this fake, false, toxic pressure for women. Oh my gosh, you're 35 without a kid. You're 40 without a kid. We're 41. Whoa, you'll never have, like, it's so ridiculous, especially in 2024. Like, stop it. So if this narrative is true or this storyline of her wanting a child is true, it's harmful. It's harmful to other women her age who may feel similar to her, watching her do a very destructive thing because she's not wanting to have a child because she wants to do what's in the best interest for the actual child, which honestly, if you're going to do it the way Kristen is, you might as well do what Lala is doing and get a sperm donor and just have the child on your own rather than having a child with this person who you're in a fake relationship with. I think they're in some type of situationship. They made it very clear that Luke was only living in LA for filming. He said 99.9% of his life is in Utah, Colorado, Iowa, Idaho, wherever the hell he's from. So he's clearly just in LA for filming. And this is the person you want to bring a life into the world with? It's not cute. It's not funny. It's a hot, hot mess. And it's sending the wrong message to other women who probably feel that same societal and personal pressure that if you're not by a certain age, if you don't have a kid, if you don't have a man, somehow you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're behind, there's something wrong with you, which totally is garbage. I don't care how old you are. You don't have to have a child to validate who you are. I don't care how old you are. You don't have to have a man or a woman to validate who you are. So get that garbage out of your mind. So I think that's a very dangerous narrative that they're playing with. There's something really off with Luke. To me, he just seems like, I don't know, there's something a little wackadoodle going on there. And Kristen, I do think Kristen is doing the best she can. Like, I do think that she's in therapy or going to therapy. She's trying to get her life back in order, but this is the wrong road. Wrong road. Now, when it comes to Jax and Brittany, this is the thing with Jax and Brittany that gets me. The reason why I said Brittany is just as evil as Jax is, number one, she pretends to be like, oh, just rotten hell, and we want grandma's beer and butter and cheese. To me, it's so fake. And you can even see the cracks starting to show with her co-stars. Like the other women on the show were like, yeah, and Brittany was just like making excuses for Jax. Like that's kind of whack too. Where it's like she makes all these excuses for Jack. People just say, oh, Brittany's an angel for putting up with him. That's also a very dangerous narrative. Women are not angels for tolerating abusive men. They're victims. If someone was like, oh, Candy, you're an angel for putting up with a guy who cheats on you, who calls you fat, who disrespects you. You're an angel for putting up with him. Why are they selling this narrative that Brittany is some angel because she lets a man play her and disrespect her every single day? That's not an angel. That's a doormat. That's low self-esteem. That is toxic, and that's unhealthy. That's not an angel. That's also a very toxic narrative where it's like, oh, you are allowing someone to disrespect you publicly. That makes you an angel because you take them back. Another issue I have with Brittany is she weaponizes her religion. It's like where they stand, look, God said forgive, so I'm going to forgive them. Well, no. Yes, you forgive, but that doesn't mean you allow somebody back in your life. That's another storyline narrative that I don't like about these two. But the reason why I think Brittany is just as evil as Jax is because in the second episode, I don't care who you are, Jax was dead wrong for inviting Alex to boys' night, knowing that Luke was going to be there, knowing what happened between Alex and Kristen. Jax, we all know he's been evil, but I'm only going to talk about his evilness for the Valley, okay? Because that's what we're talking about right now. He is evil, diabolical, and super, super scary. And this show is a dumpster trash fire. Every word out of his mouth is Kristen's crazy, this, that, and a third. He's bad-mouthing her to the ex. He's bad-mouthing her to her new boyfriend. He's bad-mouthing her to the entire group. It's really sick. Like, it's super sick to watch. And, like, it's not funny and it's not entertaining. Like, to be honest, the first episode I was into, the second episode, I was like, y'all are evil. It was just too calculated. And I don't know, maybe it's just my tolerance level, but I was like, I don't want to watch this crap, of you just going around maligning this girl. Oh, you called her washed up. You called her this. And Kristen sleeps with every single friend I have. She slept with him. I wouldn't have any friends. And like bringing Alex there and like trash talking her. It was just so nasty and disgusting. And I'm not a Kristen fan by any means. But just like humanity, just like common decency, I was like, this isn't entertainment. This is just trash and a dumpster fire. But the way Brittany was just as evil was, so then they're having the girls' night, right? And Brittany obviously very scripted and planned. Brittany brings up the fact that Alex is going to be there to Kristen. I don't think Kristen knew, but obviously Brittany bringing it up to Kristen was scripted and planned by Jax and production. Because that's another thing. The work is showing. It's so produced, it's not even funny. But I actually think Kristen had every right to be pissed off. I would be pissed off. Why are you inviting a man who told me I was washed up, who broke up with me, who made me sell my house? I move in with him, and then he kicks me out the moment I get fired. And then he talks trash about me. I wouldn't want you to invite him to be hanging out with like my new group of friends on my new show. Oh, hell no. And for Brittany to then, and they left it on that cliffhanger because she's defending Jax, to throw something in Kristen's face. She reveals something Kristen says about one of the other husbands of the group and being like, well, Kristen, you're a pot stirrer, you're this, you're that. Excuse me? Like, we were just talking about apples and now you're talking about oranges because you don't want to admit the fact that your apples are poison. What in the hell has anything that Kristen has gossiped about or said or may have repeated that somebody else has said or done have to do with the fact that your trash box husband invited her ex over as an F you to her? I'm confused. These are two different conversations. These are two different situations. But for Brittany to then do that to Kristen, I was like, wow, Brittany, you really are just as evil as your husband. You're just as evil as your husband. It was just so gross and nasty to me. And I was just like, wow. I was just like, I felt so vindicated because people was like, oh, Brittany's a saint. Brittany's an angel. Brittany's so nice. And I'm like, no, she's not. No, she is not. She's not angel and she's not nice. She's just like her toxic, narcissistic, weird husband, Jax. That's why they're attracted to each other. That's why they're married. Come on. Come on, girl. And then the whole, Jax and Brittany split, breaking up. What are our thoughts on that? Do we think that's real? Or do we think that was to get people to tune in to watch the show? Because if we learned nothing from Scandival, breakups and cheating apparently is what makes the ratings and the views and the clicks and everything. So I'm kind of side-eyeing their whole split. It was kind of convenient that all of a sudden they announced their split. She's in an Airbnb or he's in an Airbnb and she has 4 things he needs to work on and Cruz deserves better, blah, 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 right before premiere date. Cameras pick up the split. I'm tired of cameras picking back up. It was corny when Scandival did it. It was corny when Beverly Hills did it for Cal Mauricio. It's going to be corny when they do it in the Valley. Picking back up cameras. Stop it. Stop it. Do a TikTok. I'll see it on your TikTok. Picking back cameras. Stop. Stop it. You're corny with it. So Jax and Brittany, to me, they're both evil. And to be back to the racism thing, Faith did say that Brittany called her racial slurs, which I 100% believe. I'm not going to talk about anybody's religious beliefs, but I do know that the pastor who was supposed to do their whole wedding, he had said some very homophobic, horrific things. I don't know exactly what they were, so I don't want to speak to it because I didn't actually hear what he said. And they had to do damage control. And then they sort of, placated to the gay community and had Lance Bass officiate them. So it's like, no, we're not going to have the homophobic pastor do it. We're going to get this, famous pop star gay guy to do it instead. And it was just like, come on. So to me, they've always been, and Jax, as we know, he got fired because it came out, he was called somebody, this woman's Black boyfriend or husband on some other reality show, like a monkey in his nose. And obviously he was Black and all this other stuff that all got exposed and all stuff, the other stuff that Jax was doing. So they all got exposed for that. So they're all evil and they're all nasty as hell. Nasty as hell. So the whole Jax and Brittany split, is it real? Is it not? I have no idea. I don't believe anything anymore. Like I always believe in conspiracy, but like I'm a little jaded at this point because I'm like everything is so fake and like we know it's fake to a certain degree, of course, like we're all smart human beings, but there used to be this quality where we could suspend belief and sort of believe that this was real and like believe that this was like spontaneous and just unfolding in front of our eyes, when reality TV was a much more happy escape aspiration, where now it's just like who can we tear down the quickest and the fastest? So Jax and Brittany, they're both just evil, 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 evil for that. And I have a feeling it's gonna work because the fact is Brittany wanted to take the heat off of Jax because what he did was dead wrong. I don't care who you talk to, what he did inviting Alex was dead wrong. I don't even like Luke, but that's still disrespectful as hell. Like, like I put myself in a situation, like say I'm dating a guy and his best friend invites his ex-girlfriend out with all of us. Like it's just very disrespectful all the way around. Very disrespectful. So instead of Brittany being honest and like, yeah, what Jax did was wrong, she throws Kristen under the bus. And it's gonna work because people want to dislike Kristen and have, you know what I mean? It's gonna work. I bet you the rest of the season is going to be everybody against Kristen for whatever it is she said that Brittany exposed. And it's going to take the heat off of everything that Jax did. And then did you notice at the birthday party? Not the birthday party. It was like the baby shower, whatever it was. When Jax pants that guy, did you check that it was actually Brock's idea? Sheena's Brock, who allegedly is cheating on her with some Australian influencer. Yeah, because we all knew that wasn't gonna last, and we all knew he was not the PayPal husband, the payroll husband, but word on the street is he's cheating on her with an Australian influencer. But it was actually Brock's idea, and Jax did it. See, Brock's is also weird and not like these people are just icky poo, icky poo, icky poo. Anyway, let's move on to another couple. Let me see here. I have to pull it up because I forget the couple's names. I really, really do. Okay, so we did Jax and Brittany. We did Kristen and Luke. All right, let's do Danny and Nia. So Danny is like the short guy of the group. He kind of has like Napoleon complex. If you know, you know. So he's a short guy of the group. He was on like Nickelodeon. Danny, I hope you're okay. Everything coming out with Nickelodeon these days. Yikes. I hope you're okay. But I think he was on like Nickelodeon shows. I don't know what they're called, but he was on some Nickelodeon shows. And then he's married to Nia, who's like gorgeous, tall, beautiful, ex-pageant queen, all of that stuff. And they have like their cute little babies and they're this sort of like power couple. Everybody wants to be like blah, 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 blah. I like them. I think they're cute. Like, you know what I mean? They're cute. They're fun. I like Danny. I like Nia. I don't think there's anything particularly special about this couple that gives like star quality, even though he's an actor and a voice actor. I didn't know who he was, and I guess she's like a pageant person. They seem really cute. They seem pretty normal. They seem genuinely in love. So there's a part of me that's kind of like, why are you tempting fate by going on a reality show with these people? It's kind of like you're punching down a bit, but who knows what's really going on. It seems like Nia is suffering from, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but maybe some type of postpartum. It seems like that's what they're alluding to. She's like, my hormones aren't right. I've been really, emotional, and she's like crying about stuff. So I don't know if they're alluding to maybe some postpartum stuff. If it is, my heart goes out to her. Hopefully she'll talk about it and get some awareness around, what it looks like and what it feels like. And maybe she can talk about that. But they seem okay. I like them, but nothing like pizzazz. You know what I mean? Like they're cool. I think they work as a normal, fun, staple couple in an ensemble. I'm just not sure if it's this ensemble. To be honest with you, you know what it is? I think this show would work better without Jax and Brittany. That's what it is. And I said this from the beginning. I was like, they could do the show The Valley without Jax. I wouldn't even mind Kristen being on it. I know what she's done. I wouldn't even mind Kristen being on it. But Jax and Brittany, I think, is what is making it a trash dumpster fire for me. Because he is so clearly producing this show. So clearly. And I get it. He's like, it's his comeback show, blah, 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 blah. But like when anybody on the show, even if it's quote their show, whatever you want to call it, whenever they produce it so transparently, it's no longer fun to watch. Like with Giselle and Potomac, she's so clearly producing. With Kyle and Beverly Hills, so clearly producing. It's no longer fun to watch when it's so obviously being produced. And that's really what's taking away from it. So I have nothing against Danny and Nia. We'll see what else comes out in the wash with the two of them. Now, let's get into Jesse and Michelle. Jesse and Michelle are the couple that go on reality TV to divorce. You know, like we have these couples that come on TV to divorce, like we've seen it on The Housewives with certain, couples where they know they're going to get divorced or their things are in a good place. And it's either the woman trying to situate herself in a place to get some money or to get a come up or a platform to be put in a position to leave her husband, like Mia, for example, in Potomac with Gordon. We've seen that. And I think that that's what's going on with this couple because Michelle does not like her husband. Like she does not like him. She like looks at him with disgust and disdain, and he does not like her either. But I think it started with her not liking him. I think he was still wanted to do him, booze it up, have fun, be the forever playboy, but yet have the wife, have the kid, and have the social standing that comes with being a husband. Not that it should make a difference, but society, it does. There is a difference between a husband and a wife, versus the bachelor guy or the single girl. Not that I personally think that there's anything wrong with either one, but in our society, there is a certain cachet that comes with being a married couple. And I think that he wants that cachet without actually the responsibility. And I think Michelle kind of got a wake-up call. I think it was all fun and games when he was paying for everything. And I'm not saying she's a gold digger. That's not what I mean by that. I mean, like, it was just like fun and games, when it was just like they're having sex and they're really cute and he's spending and it's great. But like she said on the show, have the conversations about like, how do we want to raise our kids? Because we never had those conversations. So you can tell that like the party stopped for her, but the party didn't stop for him. And you can tell she's very like disgusted and she's very fed up and she's very done. And so we have that whole storyline. And and the reason why that they basically came on the show to get divorced is because episode 1, episode 2 out the gate, Jesse's like, oh yeah, we're not in a good place. She initiated a separation. What? Like we didn't have to like work for that or figure it out. You're not even lying or pretending. When they just say it like that, it's because that was their agenda in the first place. I think they're the couple who comes onto the show to divorce. So we'll see what happens there. Now, I don't know. Put it in the chat. If you know what the whole secret bombshell Kristen said is, put it in the chat box. But I think it's something about Jesse's sexuality. That would be my guess. Because I saw some type of thing where it was like Kristen was trying to apologize to him and he was like, shut the F up to her, like something super disrespectful. And then we see the friend, I believe his name is Zach. At the end, he gets all up in arms and he's like, no, I never said that. I never said that. So at my guess, and if you guys know, if you've seen any spoilers, but my guess is she has said something, whether it's a rumor, whether something happened around Jesse's sexuality. That is what I think. Brittany, said to get the heat off of Jax. So she just throws her under the bus. Because the moment you say, oh, Kristen said something about your husband's sexuality, then all the heat is off of Jax. And now everybody is hating Kristen when Kristen probably was just, kikiing and gossiping and, spilling the tea and didn't think it was like, going to come up. But then Brittany used it against her because she's evil. So that's what I really think is going on with that situation. Now, to be honest with you, I don't like Jesse or Michelle because that's another thing. What's missing is the likability factor. I don't really like any of the characters. Like, I like Danny, I like Nia, they're okay, but there is not a couple that I'm really rooting for on the show, if that makes sense. And I do think with Jesse and Michelle kind of comes across a little, like, I don't know, a little attitude-y. Like, she doesn't seem very friendly. She's kind of cold. She's kind of standoffish. Jesse to me is like a guy who like peaked in high school, but like nobody gave him like he like didn't get the memo that like high school is over, and like being this like frat bro dude like isn't a good look in your 40s. Like, chill out. So I feel like he's still living out his high school glory days, and he didn't get the memo that like high school's over. So that's kind of what I feel is going on with them, which kind of stinks because episode 1, I was pleasantly surprised because I actually was more invested into the couples in the first episode. I was like, okay, they're having kids, or they're talking about the next stages of life, and they're doing whatever. Like, okay, I can get into this. Let's see what's going to happen. Where it really went left for me was episode 2. And it's really about how to me, it's Jax and Brittany kind of poisoned where I think the show could have went, if that makes sense. I think that if the show would have stayed more focused on the lives of the couples, I think it would have been much more interesting, and I think I would have grown to like them. But I think that the show is going to get derailed to be very toxic and to be very cutthroat and very bitter and very dark because of what happens in episode 2, and I don't think it's ever going to recover. That is really what I think is going to happen. So I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. And how long do you give Jesse and Michelle before they divorce? Or maybe they'll just, cheaper to keep her. Who knows? But they're definitely that couple that goes on to the show to get divorced. All right. Now, Jason and Janet. Oh, Jason and Janet. Janet's the one who's like, I'm aggressive. And she's like, and he's passive. I saw some reports or, articles, whatever, being like, oh, this is like our favorite couple, Jason and Janet. They're so funny. They're so relatable. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just going to keep it 100. Maybe it's just me, but I never think it is cute or funny or entertaining when one spouse berates another spouse. Maybe it's misogyny in me, but particularly when it is the woman who does it to the man, and this very but it's guised in I'm just snarky and I'm just sarcastic. Oh, he's an idiot. Oh, shut up, honey. I can't, he doesn't do anything right. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, I'm just like that. I don't think that's cute or funny. And that's what she gives. She gives very much like masculine alpha energy. And she just sort of like emasculates and berates him. And I don't think that's entertaining, if that makes sense. I don't think it's cute the other way around either. I don't think it's cute when if a guy is disrespectful to the woman in any way. I don't think that's funny either. But when a woman does it to the man, it's usually much more acceptable. It's like if he was saying to her, if he was like, I'm aggressive and she's passive, everybody would be like, oh my God, this guy's a meathead. He's abusive. How dare you say that? You're so aggressive. I don't like it either way. I don't like any type of putting your person down any way it goes. I don't know. I don't like that whole thing. If it works for them, cool. But it gets very old very, very quickly. And I kind of think that's their whole shtick, where she's like the man, she wears the pants and she like puts him down. And then he's kind of just like beta. I, I don't like it because there's a part of it to me that feels emotionally abusive in a way. But that's just how it feels to me. If he doesn't care, cool. If she doesn't care, cool. But I don't want to really watch that all the time. It kind of grates on the soul. But everyone's like, no, they're so great, blah, 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 blah. Yes, Miss T, she's the pregnant one. Yeah, yeah. Janet, she's the pregnant one. And it just kind of screams like insecurity. Like, don't get me wrong, a little bit of banter here and there is great. And I don't think that people have to have, typical societal, this is the man's role, this is the woman's role. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when it is so clearly where one partner sort of humiliates the other partner for their personality. Like his personality is very docile, it's very soft, it is very passive. But I think that's okay. I think that's a strength. It would be nice if more people were softer, but to then kind of weaponize that against him, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I didn't think that they were this breakout couple that's so relatable. I don't want to relate to that. I don't want to relate to berating my man. And I don't want to relate to my man holding in clearly resentment towards me. Because I don't care whether you're in a relationship or not. I don't care if you're male or female or not. If someone continuously digs at you under the guise of sarcasm or a joke or it's cool, that breeds resentment. That breeds bitterness because nobody wants to be the butt of a joke. Nobody wants to feel disrespected by their partner. Nobody wants to feel emasculated by their partner. They don't. It doesn't feel good. So we'll see what happens with that. I think she needs to just chill a bit. You can still be smart and sassy and whippy and aggressive, and you could still be all of those things, but chill on the berating of him, because that's how it feels to me. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe deep down inside he does, So we'll see. So those are the couples. Now, let's move to, and I hate to say it, again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer with this dumpster fire of a show, but I just got to tell you how I feel, because that's the only thing I can do. Jasmine is the black girl and Zach is the gay guy. And I said it like that for a reason. Jasmine is the black girl and Zach is the gay guy. Now, do we think in real life these couples are hanging out with these two? Or do we think that the producer said we need some diversity? Who can we get? I don't know. Do we think these couples are real friends? Maybe, maybe not. Or was it, people wanting to be on a reality show who kind of knew each other coming together? I don't know. But it just seems to me like Jasmine and Jack and Zach are sort of like, we have this show about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white couples. We got to get a gay guy. We got to get a minority. Is that how you guys feel, or am I the only one? Maybe I'm the only one, but it just seemed like it. And I'll tell you another reason why I felt like it. And it felt very icky to me because, and it was what Kristen said, but I'm not going to blame Kristen for it because I think it's something the producers told her to say. I don't think she came up with this herself because it was very like, now we're describing all of the people on the show. Here we go. And she's like, yeah. And then there's Jack and Jasmine. And like, they just tell it like it is. There's like no BS with them. And it was literally, it felt like she was like, and this is my sassy Black friend, and this is my like my fabulous gay BFF. Like that's kind of what it felt like. Like, okay, so Jasmine's a sassy Black girl who tells it like it is. And Zach is like the fabulous gay guy who holds nothing back. He's gonna spill the tea with you guys. It just seemed very like caricature to me. Do you know what I mean? It seemed like very much like we have a show about 5 white couples. We got to get into minority. We got to get into LGBTQIA. I'm sorry if I mispronounced those letters. I apologize for that. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what it felt like. Go back and watch episode 1 when Kristen's in her confessional and she's describing everybody. Jasmine and Zach, they're amazing. Like they just tell it like it is. You know, there's just no BS there. And I'm like, oh my God. It literally was like, and this is my sassy Black friend, and this is my fabulous gay BFF. I was like, I can't. And I'm not even blaming Kristen for that because she so clearly was reading off of a teleprompter. So producers or whoever okayed that, and B, I think probably told her that because they're trying to create each persona, each archetype of the characters on the show. And to me, I'm like, well, couldn't you have gotten like a gay couple on the show? Couldn't you have gotten a Black couple or an Asian couple or an Indian couple or Hispanic couple on the show? Couldn't you show that love? But no, it has to be the sassy Black girlfriend and like the fabulous gay guy. You know what I mean? Like if you're putting together these couples who I question the validity of how good of friends these couples are. Just like with the housewives, we saw what happened with Anne Marie. Kyle was like, I don't know that chick. I met her once. You know what I'm saying? So we know that they bring in these friends of and these groups of people and these ensembles. With Roni, those girls did not know each other on Roni. Please. They did not know each other on Roni. Not in any real way. On Real Housewives of New York, right? Couldn't they have gotten a Black couple? Or any other race couple? If they are going to do that type of pandering. Because I'm not the person that says we have to have an Indian couple or an Asian or we have to. No, it's okay. You can have an all white ensemble. If that is what is authentic and true, that is okay too. We can have an all Black. We can have an all Asian. We can have an all gay. That all of those things are fine. We can also have inclusive, where there are different minorities and different sexualities when it's authentic and when it makes sense. What it boils down to is authenticity and truth. I'm not saying cast all white and exclude people. I'm just saying don't include them if it's not genuine and authentic. You know? So that's kind of what I'm saying. And it just seems like a hodgepodge. And even look at my little thing. Zach and Jasmine weren't even included in the cast photo. This is from bravotv.com. I had to go and get Zach and Jasmine. They weren't even included in the cast. It's my sassy Black friend and my fabulous gay friend. Bravo, shut up. So that's kind of how I feel about The Valley. Now, season 3 airs this week. Episode 3, I'm sorry. I'm gonna watch episode 3 just because I need to see what happens with the whole Jax, Brittany, Kristen, this whole rumor thing. But I feel like that's gonna be the last one unless it can redeem themselves. You know? So there is that. There is that. All right, so that was The Valley. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So what do you guys want me to cover next? We can do Summer House, we can do Vanderpump Rules, or we could do The Real Housewives of Potomac. So put it down in the chat box. The first person to put what they want us to cover in the chat, that's what we will cover. But yeah, that's what's going on at The Valley. Oh, and you guys don't forget, we have merch, we have t-shirts. Everything is linked down below in the description.